Hey guys, what's up? It's Daniel, and today I'm going to be doing Project 7 in the SAM 2010 course online, and this will be the first project in Excel that we are doing, and what we're making is this right here. It's some pretty basic scales and a nice little chart here, and the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the SAM course and go to your assignments, click on Project 7, which is not here anymore because I already did it, but I'll just click on this one. This window pop up, click OK, and there's going to be two files that come up. One is your actual working project, and the other one are the directions. Click on both the links, download them, and save them onto your computer, and then open both of them and begin your project. So real quick, just to show you my grade results, 100 out of 100, so hopefully if you do everything I do, you will get that. And the first thing you're going to want to do when you open up your project, it's going to look like this. And this says that it's your file. Your name will be there, this code will be over here. Don't worry about any of this, just don't click on anything and just leave it alone. Just make sure your name's on the file, and if it's not, go back and re-download it. And then we're going to open up sheet 1, which is down here on the bottom. It'll say sheet 1 right before sheet 2, and when you do that, it's going to look like this. See, sheet 1 down here, and you're going to have these blank little boxes everywhere. So before I get into the project, I just want to show you guys the basic layout of how Excel works, and you'll need to know this, and you'll need to know a command on the keyboard that is very, very, very useful, and if you don't know it, you might burst into flames. Anyway, basically up on the top we can see that we have, all the letters of the alphabet, and in the directions you're constantly going to be going to all these letters and numbers, and you can see, for instance, if I am asked to go to G4, here's G, here's 4, so I'm going to want that box. That's G4, and you can see when I click on it, the G highlights and the 4 highlights. So it's important to understand that concept, that when you click on a box, it's actually a place that you can actually put something. So when you have this A box selected, this you can either type directly into the box, like so, or you can type up here where this next to this little FX, this is what's in your box. So it's easier for me to do it up here because you can do corrections and you can backspace and stuff, but once you click away from the box and you click on the box again, if I was to press backspace, it'll delete everything I put in that box like that. However, if I clicked on the box and wanted to just, if I made a misspelling, I can just, instead of clicking on the box and pressing backspace and respelling the whole word, if it was the last letter of the word, I could just click up here and say, okay, that doesn't need a D. So now it's akasasasakablah. Okay, another important function that you need to know on your keyboard is the shift and click. And what this enables you to do is select multiple boxes at the same time. So basically anywhere you click, the box that you click on is going to be selected. You can see that all the highlights change. However, it does ask you in the directions to select multiple boxes at the same time. So here's how to do that. Say it wants me to select B3 to to I9, okay, which is right here. What I'm going to do to select all of these is I'm going to click on one corner. It could be B3 or I9, whichever one I prefer, it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to hold down the shift key on my keyboard. So I click B, you can see the boxes, and got its little black border. I'm going to hold down shift on my keyboard, and then I'm going to click I9, which is this one. And that will open up this big box and select all of the boxes inside where I just clicked, including this one, even though it's not blue. That's just where the starting point. So understand that concept, play around with it. It's click and shift. and click again, and you can select multiple layers. So hopefully you guys understand that, and now we can get started in our project. After you verified your name is on the documentation sheet and you switch to sheet 1 by clicking sheet 1 on the tab at the bottom of the workbook, enter the worksheet title A Healthy Body Shop in cell A1 and the worksheet subtitle Annual Revenue Analysis. So A Healthy Body Shop, it wants us to put this in A1, which is this one, so go ahead and type that in just like that. And it wants us to put Annual Revenue Analysis in cell A2, which is this one. These are all called cells, by the way, if I didn't mention that already. The boxes, I just prefer to call them boxes, but if you're being technical, they're called cells. So the subtitle is going to go in A2, that box, Annual Revenue Analysis. And I'm going to try to type and spell as good as I can, but if I make a mistake, this is only, for your knowledge and showing you how to do it. So you don't exactly copy me word for word. I would rather you copy what's on your directions. I'm just showing you how to get it done, in other words. So once you've got your subtitle and your title in the correct cells, it says beginning in row 3, enter the franchise locations, fitness activities, and annual revenue shown in table 1. Enter the locations in range B3 to F3, and the categories in range A4 to A8. So my categories, looking at figure 1, aquatics, cardiovascular, dance, weight training, and yoga and stretching. And all of those I'm going to enter in A4 to A8, which is this one to this one, just so you guys can see that. You don't have to shift and click. I'm just showing you which ones they are. So I'm going to type those in, and then it says enter the franchise locations, fitness activities, and annual revenue shown in table 1, and B3 to F3. So here's B3, and all the way over here is F3. So the locations are Atlanta, which is going to go here, Boston here, New York here, Phoenix here, and Portland here. Alright, so I would put my locations here and my different activities in 4 to 8. So once you've entered in the locations and the different activities, it wants you to enter in the data. And I've already entered in all this stuff in these different cells on a separate project, so I'm going to skip to that one because it would take a long time for me to type it all in again. So I did it earlier to save time. So basically what it's going to look like is this for the moment. You have your aquatics and all the different activities from 4 to 8. You have your locations from B3 to F3, which is this one right here. And then you're going to enter in all the numbers you can see on table 1, and make sure you spell them exactly as they're put out. And notice that some of them, when you type them in at first, if it's 8837.00 and you go to the next one, it's going to, see, like here, I'll show you. It's going to get rid of the zeros for you automatically. So we're going to fix that in a little bit, don't worry, but for right now, just don't worry about that. You're not doing anything wrong. Okay, and a trick I found useful when entering all these numbers, it's a pain in the ass to switch back and forth to documents and making sure that you get the numbers right. So either print out the directions, or you can minimize one page and bring up the other one and minimize that, and then from there you can click and see the numbers over here like that, and you can click and type them in just by looking back and forth instead of switching back and forth. So that's useful. You can size your screens by going to the edge of the screen and getting the arrows and then clicking and dragging, and that will you can resize your screens like that, and then just double click on it to maximize. So once we've entered in all the data up to number 3, we're going to go to number 4, and it says enter the text total in cells G3 and A9. So here's G3. And here's A9. And once we've entered in the text total, it says in ranges G4 to G8, use the sum function to determine the totals for each type of activity. So we're looking at G4, which is right here, and G8, which is right here. So you can see it's right there. And this time you're actually going to want to do what I just did. I clicked on the cell right underneath totals, hit shift, and clicked on the last line that's equal to, it's 4 to 8, lines 4 to 8, and it wants us to total the numbers here, going across like this, total, 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 total. And don't worry, you're not going to have to add them up. This is where Sam comes in handy. So once you've selected these boxes, there's a button up here. It looks like a, I think it's a Roman numeral Z, or what, I forget what they call it. Anyway, but right underneath it, it says auto sum. And if yours doesn't say that, you can click on the little arrow next to it and click sum. That's going to add them all up and give us our total. So make sure that's selected, and when you click on it, it's going to automatically put the totals of each row on the last column here underneath totals. If you don't believe me, you can add them all up and see what you get number wise, but trust me, Excel's not wrong. It's you that's making the mistake if it's wrong. So once you've done that, you can go to the next step, which is in range B9 to F9. Use the sum function to determine B9 to F9, so it's that one. Use the sum function to determine the total for each franchise location. So now we're going up and down. We're adding from the top to the bottom, or the bottom to the top, whatever you want to say, but we're just adding up these separate columns now. So once you've selected this by shifting, clicking, and letting go of shift, you can just click on the auto sum, and now it's added up these rows right here, and these are your totals right there. It says in cell G9, use the sum function to determine the total range of G4 to G8. So here's G4, here's G8, and right here I'm going to click the top number. I'm going to hold shift down, and I'm going to click the bottom box. Okay, so I'll have the empty box at the bottom, and this is going, when I click the total number, when I click the total button, it's going to sum all of these up and put the total there, like that. And again, if you don't believe me, do the math. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is format the worksheet title in cell A1 with the title cell style. Okay, so here's A1, and it's our title, and we have to use a title style. Okay, so underneath my cell styles button up over here, I'm under the home menu. What I've done is I've just clicked on A1 cell, so it's selected. I'm going to go to my cell styles button, click the little arrow, and a menu is going to drop down, and it wants me to select the title style menu, which is this one. And when I click it, it's going to change what my cell looks like to this bluish larger title style. So that's what we wanted to do. The next thing it asks us to do is merge and center the title across columns A to G. Okay, now I'm going to use my click and shift again, and I'm going to click A1, which is already selected. I'm going to hit shift, and I'm going to go all the way to G1 right here. And you'll notice that under the alignment section there's a button that says merge and center, and if yours doesn't say that, click the drop down menu and select merge and center at the top, and when I click on that, it's going to center my title just like that. And now this whole box is just one box now. Instead of a whole bunch of different cells, it's just one cell now. And the next thing it wants us to do is format the worksheet subtitle in cell A2 to 11 point bold Ferdinand. Okay, so here's A2 right here. And what I'm going to do up in my little comment menu up here, because this is what I use, I'm going to highlight what's in the box, which is annual revenue analysis. I'm going to go under my font section. I want 11 points, so I'm going to click the drop down arrow. You should know this by now. And I'm going to select 11, and then I'm going to bold it, which is right here, the B, and then I want Ferdinand font. So under my font, I'm going to select Ferdinand, which is in alphabetical order, so it's going to be towards the bottom. Ferdinanda. Okay, fine. So now that I've switched it to Ferdinanda, or however you pronounce that, it wants me to change the font color to dark blue text 2. So with this still highlight, I'm going to come up here to the A with the little red line underneath it, which is my font color. Click the drop down arrow, and it wants text 2 dark blue, which is that one. So I'm going to click that, and it's going to change the color of my font. Now that you've changed the color, it wants us to then merge and center the column across A and G, just like we did with the top one. So click A2, Shift, click G, select the whole line, click merge and center, and now it's merged and centered underneath my title, which looks nice. Number 8, we're almost done here. Use the buttons in the number group on the Home tab on the ribbon to apply the accounting number format to ranges B4 to G4. So here is B4, and here is G4. So I'm going to click Shift, click, let go of Shift, and it wants us to use the number group, which is right here, and we want, what does it want? Accounting number format. So I believe it's this one, yeah. So there's a button, it's a little $sign for me. If it's not there for you, click the drop down arrow, select, oh, never mind, that's different languages. If it's not there for you, you can come under here, and it's accounting is the one they want, but my button's just right here. So the accounting number format is going to change it so that there are going to be zeros at the end. Remember how they automatically disappeared when we entered it in? It's going to change it so that there's $signs and there's going to be zeros at the end, which represents cents, I guess. So I'm going to click that, and now it's converted all of that line into what money would look like on paper. Once you've done the accounting number format to ranges B4 to G4, you also want to do it to B9 to G9, which is down here directly underneath it. So I'm gonna click Shift, click, let go, click the number. Now it's changed all those to dollar form, and then it wants us to use the buttons in the number group on the Home tab ribbon to apply comma style to range B5 to G8. So here is B5, and I want G8, so I'm going to click Shift, click. Now I've selected the correct range, and it wants comma style, which is this little comma. It should be there for you. Again, if it's not, you can go under here and select comma somewhere. Yeah, more number formats. It would be under that. So I'm just going to click this one. Now it's put a comma in the thousands and a decimal in the singles, so to speak. And it wants us to set the width of column A to 15.86. So to do this, I'm actually not going to click on a cell. I'm just going to click on this A right here, like that, and it's going to select all of A up until 1 billion cells. So just click the A, and we're going to change the width. So to do this, we're going to go up to our format button here underneath the home tab, underneath the cells. You're going to go to format, and there's a button that says column width. You're going to click that, and this little box is going to pop up, and we're going to enter in 15.86 and click enter. And when I do that, it made a slight change to how wide my A column is. It was very minuscule, but it did change, I saw. So that is how to change your column width. The next thing it wants us to do is select ranges A3 to F8. So A3, which is right here, to F8, which is right here. So once you've selected those cells, what we're going to do is then insert a cluster cylinder chart. Okay, so to do this, we're going to go to insert, and when you do this, we want to insert a chart, which is underneath the columns, and we want a cluster cylinder. So once you've clicked the down arrow underneath the columns, you're going to select cluster cylinder, which is right here. The title pops up when you leave your mouse over it. That's a stack cylinder, cluster cylinder. So once you've done that, click it, and it's going to insert a chart automatically from the data given here, like so. So it's selected. You can see these different boxes come up. It's selected that the blue is what the data, the actual bars project, and the green is what the yoga, aquatics, all that over here, that's what that projects, and the Boston and all that is under here. That's the purple section. So that is how to insert your chart. And notice when I insert my chart, I get a completely different menu up here that says chart tools, and what it wants us to do next is apply the style 26 chart style to the chart. So having the chart selected just by clicking on it, this is my chart style selection right here, and it wants me to select number 26, so it's 1826 right here, and I'm going to click that, and you'll see that it kind of does some minor changes. It brightened the colors a little bit and rounded the edges. So once you've done that, it says move and resize the chart so that the upper left corner is inside cell A11. So to reposition the chart, what you're going to do is bring your mouse to the very corner of the chart so that your mouse turns into these double arrows, and now you can click and drag, and this is, you can see the reference point, and it wants it inside the left upper corner inside cell A11. So here is A11, left corner is just inside, like so. And you notice when I let go, it will look huge, but the next thing it wants us to do is the lower right corner in cell G24. So we're going to do the same thing to the bottom corner, 24 and G. So it's going to look something like that. So that's how you resize your chart. And the next thing it wants us to do is apply the worksheet name Annual Revenue Analysis to the Sheet tab, which is down here. This is Sheet 1. This is your tab right here. You could go to Sheet 2, Sheet 3, and they're open or blank tabs. And this is useful when you have a bunch of different things up. Then you need to get references from other projects. So we're working on Sheet 1 right now, and what it wants us to do is rename it Annual Revenue Analysis. So I'm going to right click on where it says Sheet 1, and you'll see this box pops up. I'm going to click rename, and I'm going to type in Annual Revenue Analysis, and then I'm going to just click away, and that will automatically just stay there. But then it wants me to change the sheet tab color to orange accent 6 darker 25%. So I'm gonna right click on it again, and under here there's a tab for color, and it wants orange accent 6 darker 25%. So orange accent 6 darker. Alright, that's the one. I'm gonna click it, and you'll notice that it just barely changes the color of where my tab is right now. However, if you click away from that, you'll see that it gets brightened, and it's quite the contrast from if you actually have it selected. Double check your work. Look at how the figure 1 looks on the second page, or on the first page actually. Make sure it all looks the same, and for the hell of it, I'll just do it too. So yeah, see, look, like looking at figure 1, I can see that this is not in comma for some reason. So, you know, double check your work. Like I said, I'm not perfect, so I make mistakes. Don't copy me exactly, but I do show you to my best how to get the job done. So I fixed that. I guess I needed to come over one extra column, and I just missed it. But make sure you double check all your work. You know, it's proofing, so to speak. So it's always good to proof. And if this helped, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. It helps me out. And send me messages on tutorials of other nature that you want to see, whether it has to do with computers or programs or life in general. I do pretty much everything. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.